guys, I'm Sure Commander today in Clash Royale. Welcome to the video, guys. How you all doing? Send some positive vibe, some love your way today, especially if you need it. And God, there's quite a few people who might need it today. Things in CR, they haven't let up. It's been almost 30 days since the update for losers was announced, and still the sentiment remains incredibly poor. The prognosis remains incredibly dire for Clash Royale right now. Today, now that we actually have a little bit of data here, right, in terms of the time that has elapsed since the update for losers, I want to ask a serious question. Instead of just saying, yeah, this sucks, like we've been doing the last 5 videos here on the channel, I want to talk about what's going to happen from here? What is going to happen from here? And for once, we actually, as I said, we have a little bit more data to look at here. We don't know the bottom line, which is the money, right? Show me the money. How much has this impacted their bottom line at Supercell? Because of course, they're a business. This is going to be dictating some of their decision making. But today, I may or may not have some bad news, good news. I don't know what it is, but you guys can be the judge of that in the comments below. So before we get into it here, guys, listen, I know most people, if you look at, like, if I tweeted Clash Royale sucks, which right now, arguably it does, right? If I tweet Clash Royale sucks, I would get, thousands and thousands of likes and retweets and opinions and feedback and stick it to them ashes, right? However, there's real tragedy going on. I know this is apples and oranges. I'm talking about a video game. I'm talking about real life, right? But like, I just got to be real. I've been following the situation in South Sudan very closely. And it's a country that I've always wanted to visit, because I actually saw a vlog on it by Drew Binsky, a great YouTuber, and the hospitality and the culture I found fascinating and also overwhelming and really just somewhere I wanted to go, right? Somewhere I wanted to go. And then this all went down, and the last few years have been tragic, and the last few months have been even more so. 2.3 million refugees misplaced. Listen, guys. This is, again, I'm going to sound like such a freaking old man. I promise I'll get off my soapbox. I promise fast forward for a minute if you don't care. But you should, man. This is what the problem is with the world that we live in today, man. You mention anything like, you mention anything, right, to me. Anything about people that need help or people who are helping people, things to get inspired by, things that actually make a difference in your life, and no one really cares. Because they're used to constantly 24/7, they're used to being thrown by big news outlets on every side of the political spectrum. It's all the freaking same shit, They're used to being thrown negativity and fear, man. Negativity and fear. Not right now, because right now is special in Clash Royale. It's a very bad time, right? Speaking of negativity and fear. However, if I was to, like, a year ago upload a video, 5 things I love about Clash Royale, and then the next day I upload 5 things I hate about Clash Royale, guess what would get more views, right? By 20-fold is the things that I hate, because people are attracted like flies to negativity, right? To things that are going to get you upset. And to me, it's such a shame, because there's so much good out there in the world, and there's also so much good that you can do other than just being frustrated and angry. I'm not talking about, maybe you're not like that, and I think that's amazing if you're not. I think that hopefully, I like to think that a lot of my audience is not. Like, you guys are about doing good. You guys are about trying to make a difference in this small little blip of a thing that we call life in the grand scheme of the universe. But honestly, guys, I mean, I'm not saying this to say I've made tons of mistakes. I'm far from perfect. I'm not, but I always strive to be better, right? Because what other meaning is there right now in your life, right? What other meaning is there than to be the best version of yourself? Like, what other thing that you could aspire to that is more important than that? And part of that is recognizing no matter where you are, there's people who have it worse than you, and that can give you some sort of inner peace, perhaps, about, like, hey, things are bad, but they're not that bad, right? And it can also potentially motivate you to give some of what you have to others. Because material things that we strive for out there, like those things, it took me getting a sense of financial security in my life after growing up, frankly, poor, like I had a house, I had a roof over my head, but it wasn't, it was tough growing up. It was tough, and And then it took me getting money after wanting it so long, so badly. It took me getting that to recognize that it doesn't fucking matter. It matters in terms of having the necessities, of course, you know, shelter and food and stuff. And this is what we're talking about here in South Sudan. But it doesn't lead to, why do you think there's all these, you know, why do you think there's all athletes, celebrities, rich people who are depressed? You know, like sometimes it takes you achieving something to recognize that, man, that was the wrong goal. That was the wrong goal. It's not what life is about. Whew. All right, back to Clash Royale. So, guys, sorry for the massive, massive preamble. I know some people, whenever I talk about this stuff, I feel like, again, it's like a knee-jerk. Some people just feel like, screw this guy, I'm going to tell him why he's wrong, you know? And I guess what I try to do is have a little bit more of a mentality, I guess, the older I get, you know, compared to how immature I was, right, at one point, and still have a long way to go, right? But I try really hard to not always jump to criticism and negativity and cancel culture and all that stuff, right? Dialogue, sometimes forcing yourself to listen to somebody else and acknowledge things is the more difficult path, but the more rewarding path in the long run. All right, guys, if you want to consider making a donation, please do so. Sorry, that was not planned. It was just, I'm in a mood today, man. I'm in a mood. All right, so how are things in Clash Royale, man? They're bad. They're still bad. Every tweet that Clash Royale puts out, anything that a community manager says, whatever it may be, it's thanks for the update that nobody wanted. It's stop this. It's uninstall Clash Royale. It's fix the game. And again, on this particular instance, right? Like lost a customer today. You're greedy. I understand. Again, I don't take my whole big speech to mean, oh, you guys, shame on you for criticizing Clash Royale. You know, that's what we've done the last few videos, and I forgot if I mentioned it already, but I still haven't bought Pass Royale because I think this is a very important point that I don't want to just be like a quick point that we gloss over here. If you're mad about Pass Royale or about any decision making in Clash Royale, the biggest thing that you can do, and again, this should be rather intuitive, and I'm going to go to my YouTube channel here. The biggest thing you can do is how much you spend a month on Clash Royale on average. 85% of you guys spend nothing, zero. 15%, or excuse me, 13% of you spend less than $15, which is like, you know, Pass Royale, right? And then 2% of you spend more than $15, you know? And honestly, if you fall in either of these categories, I'm not sitting here and telling you to boycott Clash Royale if you like Clash Royale, but do whatever the hell you want to do, man. If you want to spend for your entertainment, do it. Like, I'm not here to preach to you guys more than I've already done. but truthfully, guys, listen, I'm belaboring the point here. Don't spend money. Don't spend money. You know, like, that is the strongest. Let me put it this way. An angry tweet or an angry Reddit post is over here in the effect of what you can have in Clash Royale, right? If you're angry, if you're upset about things. Not spending, especially if you were a spender previously, is way over here, man. It's night and day, okay? So if you're angry and you're somebody who falls into these two camps, then instead of attacking somebody or whatever, or just spreading negativity, which again, it's your right to do. I'm not telling you can't do it, but if you want to be more effective, I would say stop spending money. Stop buying pass. If you don't like the new Pass Royale, challenge yourself not to buy it for a month or two, you know, and see if that actually puts a blip on their radar, you know. That to me is how, like, listen, this is basic stuff here, guys, basic stuff. But I think it's important, man. I think it's important to talk about too. And who knows? I feel like as I'm saying this that like half the people are not going to be, it's not going to resonate with 75% of you guys, but whatever. But like, it's a basic tip in life, right? Sometimes we just need to vent, and I get that. I get that 100%. So that's why ultimately you have the autonomy to do whatever you want to do. You're an adult, or even if you're not, it's the internet. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, right? But if you really want to make change, right? And this applies to more than Clash Royale. It applies to everything in life, right? applies to your boss at work, your teacher, somebody that you're not friends with at school, whatever, you know? If you really want to change that relationship, the most effective way to do it, and it's not rocket science, you know, it's not rocket science. It's how to, you know, make friends influence people. You know, it's Dale Carnegie. It's you approach them in a constructive manner with respect. I know that's tough in today's society, right? But you approach them with respect first. You'll get their attention. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, Ash, screw you, pal. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And by the way, this is my idea to fix Clash Royale or whatever. Pass it on to the developer. I'm going to be like, whatever, dude. I don't care, you know? But if someone says, hey, man, I've always respected you, and here's what I see the problem might be. And again, taking it away from Clash Royale, this applies to everything in life, right? If your real goal is to vent, then do whatever you want to do. If your real goal is to spur on change, coming at someone in an aggressive and critical manner is going to have oftentimes the opposite effect, you know? So just a note to you guys, right? Like if you want to tweet at the community managers or whatever, go ahead, tweet at the community managers, man. Like do it. They're the community managers. They're the people that need to answer to the community, right? But if you go at them with kill yourself, by the way, your game sucks, and you think that's actually going to spur any sort of a change whatsoever, then you're absolutely misguided, to say the least, right? So anyway, that speech is over. Whew, God, man, I am on something today. So how are things going right now, right? Well, community managers are not your friends, and they do not have your best interest in mind. Just a friendly reminder that I give my employees about HR that applies to the community managers. They are not your friends. They do not have your best interests in mind. Their sole job is to protect the interest of the company. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, as a business owner, it sounds like this guy's a business owner, right? As a business owner myself, like, with all due respect, man, dude, like, that's a shitty-ass company, man. If your big advice is, I'm a business owner, and I'm telling my employees, don't trust HR, they have the interest of the business in mind, you know? Like, again, for me, and every business is different, you know, there could be toxic workplaces where that could be the case. Totally acknowledge that. But like, golly, man, like, yeah, you want your HR department to be somebody that you can go to with big issues, you know? Anyway, I digress. Sure, a lot of you know this. I'm getting really, really tired of everyone trying to apologize for Drew and Max like they're some kind of martyrs. It is their fault this update is it their fault, I'm sorry, that the update is an unmitigated disaster? No. Is it their job to deal with the consequences of the devs as it relates to the community? Yes. Someone has to be held responsible, and unfortunately, Drew and Max are the first line of defense. I've been beating this drum for years, but it's taken one of the worst updates in the history of gaming to rile you up. Do not let this go quietly into the night. Let those CR Twitter feeds, like those CR Twitter feeds up like it's Independence Day. So again, man, like, to my previous point, I actually agree, you know, despite my, you know, questions on the beginning of this, I totally agree that is it their fault? No. And I mean, they are part of the team though, so they do have a say, right? But is it their job to deal with the consequences? Yes, I totally, completely agree with that. I'm sure they would agree with that, right? Held responsible in giving feedback, it goes to my previous point, right? Like, sure, you know, like, you can angry tweet people all day. Like, you can do whatever you want to do, right? But if you want to be effective, you got to do it in a way that's going to actually get them to want to engage with you. You know, otherwise your feedback is going to be muted and blocked. And, you know, if they have to block and mute thousands of people, will that send its own message? Yeah, but I think they kind of know. I think they've been attacked for a whole month now, personally, you know? And not only that, but it's spread to Reddit moderators. It's spread to Reddit moderators. Let's see, where is it? Where the heck is, okay. Hey everyone. This got negative 204, 204 downvotes on this. Where the heck is it? Sorry guys. I keep, okay, there it is. It's by Trickshot. By the way, a quick note on Trickshot. What the hell is going on my computer here, man? A quick note on Trickshot, dude. This dude has been a moderator since like Clash of Clans days, right? And now he's getting personal attacks, right? I mean, content creators, who cares? We put ourselves out there, and to some extent, maybe the Reddit moderators do too. But like, it almost feels like piling on, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, they had to come out and make this. Hey everyone, I'd like to address this post to say that Reddit mods and owners of this sub do not work for Supercell, and they're taking a lot of abuse because of that misunderstanding. Obviously, personal attacks and toxicity are not welcome in any community, but please do not take out your frustration on the hardworking mods of this sub. I also don't agree that siloing all feedback into one place and closing threads is a great plan to help the community frustration, but it makes their lives easier, so it allows us to check out one place for feedback so I can see the merit. Thanks for understanding. This response, just to give the other argument some attention as well. Reddit is the only place where we can vent our feelings and complaints. Being toxic towards mods who have nothing to do with that is wrong, but the whole riot started because of you guys and your horrible decisions that led to people into such anger. We of course respect decency, but you have to understand how much Clash Royale is hurting its player base. Wow, man, it's a lot, dude. It's a lot. I hate to see personal attacks. I don't think they're a martyr for certainly, but I hate to see it over a video game, bro. Like, people who make personal attacks at a Reddit moderator for a video game, like, to me, and I'm sure this is me just stereotyping people, to me, it's either A, people hiding behind the anonymity of the internet, or B, it's people who have not gone through any sort of friction or strife in life to where a video game gives them such ire as to where they're going to make personal threats or harassment at people who volunteer their time to help those communities. To me, it's really shitty. It's really shitty. But anyway, that's all that. But let's actually get back on point for just a moment here. Dude, things are bad in Clash Royale right now, man. I mean, I can't even tweet about Clash Royale. I can't talk about Clash Royale, man. Everybody's upset, and rightfully so, man. They've came out and acknowledged the frustration, but that's all they've done, I think that at the very least at this point, 1 month in, I think that the community managers, again, without being on the inside myself, I think it's time for more communication in a productive way, meaning not just we hear you anymore, like here are the steps that we're taking, and I would love to see some sort of a roadmap, right? Because let's be honest here, guys. And this is my fear. I'm just going to be real with you, right? I spent a lot of time kind of hemming and hawing about don't be dicks to people, right? Try to do the right thing, try to be constructive. But now let's look at the other side of the coin a little bit, right? First of all, I've never seen this game anywhere close to as I don't say toxic in a way to indict individuals, just unhappy. The player base is very, very, very unhappy. And when I say player base, I'm speaking mostly about the hardcore players, the people who have been there in the long run, the people who have played this game for years and years and years, very hurt, very angry. It's very clear that this update, people saw through the veil of this is better, blah, blah, blah. Everybody right now, I haven't heard anybody make a case against this. Everybody sees this last update after all the veils were taken down and the Wizard of Oz was there left standing, naked behind the stage. Everybody sees it for a cash grab, And at this point, maybe it was successful. That's the crazy thing. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have this weird feeling that so everybody knows this, I think, intuitively, but like the people who go seek out YouTube videos on Clash Royale, the people that go and vent their frustration and their anger on Reddit or on Twitter, love them or hate them, these are the most passionate players, right? And even to rebut what I was saying earlier, right? Like these are people who clearly are super passionate at the very least, the most passionate players. It takes a lot of effort to go, believe it or not, to like go on Reddit and write a dissertation about how upset they are with the video game. It means that it meant a lot to them, right? So the most passionate people are who are probably watching this video on a video game, right? But that only accounts for a small segment of the overall population of Clash Royale players. You know, guys, it's like this, people who are watching this video, people who consume YouTube content, it barely makes up 1% of the players in the game. So the problem is I'm starting to think, just looking at Google Trends and thinking about what sort of implications that will have for the bottom line of Clash Royale, I'm starting to think that this update internally could maybe have been a win in terms of the bottom line. That's why I kind of go back to my community tab post, right? I go back to saying, these people, I'm not telling you, again, if you're enjoying the game, absolutely. But if you're the same person out there making those Reddit posts talking about how much you hate the game and you're in this category, then I fear that we might not be seeing big changes coming down, big fixes coming down, you know? There's no doubt about it that the Clash Royale team understands and hears the frustration from the community. And I also think they probably will take some steps to mitigate some of that anger and frustration, because it's loud right now, right? It's loud. But if you look at the interest over time, for example, look at this date. This is the last 90 days worldwide Clash Royale, right? If we look at this big spike, this was on March 27th. March 27th. What was March 27th? March 27th was the update for Losers Day, okay? So the update comes out and it spikes. The interest spikes. If we go back, 12 months, right? Go back 12 months. We see that there's a little spike over here, right? But there's a big decline that happened around last summertime, right? Last summer. But since then, we have this one spike, and then we've just been absolutely in the same trajectory, which has been a slow and steady decline. But when we see this spike on March 27th, I don't see, talking about the new Pass Royale specifically, okay, specifically, so if we zoom into the last 90 days, right, I am not seeing anything that would indicate, in terms of the masses, not the 1% most passionate people who are on Reddit, on Twitter, and on YouTube, I am not seeing, pretty shocked, honestly, I'm not seeing any dip in interest. I'm seeing the overall trend in dip in interest in Clash Royale. That still remains the same. But in terms of this particular update, meaning after this date, are these numbers, is this trend right over here, is it significantly lower than this trend, the months leading into the update? I'm not seeing anything that would indicate that they're seeing a massive spending decline. And again, going back to my main point of this video, spending declines are what will spur change, not just with Clash Royale, not just with Supercell, but with any company in a capitalistic or heck, any sort of society, right? Like, spending habits are going to spur on change. And I'm starting to think here, even if you go to YouTube search, which doesn't mean much, right? But, you're not seeing, this is the update, you're not seeing anything change, You go look at all the most successful content creators in Clash Royale right now, views are pretty much the same, Even with Mega Draft, you'd think, if anything, not being able to give good decks would have a super negative effect on the views of content creators. And that does make a lot of sense, right? If everything's Mega Draft, if the whole game's Mega Draft, why would you go watch content? But yet, it doesn't seem like there was that big of an impact on YouTube search either. On web search, certainly nothing. If anything, maybe like the bottoms aren't even quite as low as they were. Now, it's only 30 days, so maybe things can change. And the Sensor Tower data in terms of the spending in this game, that will be available. It should be available in like a month or so. I would think, and I will definitely update you guys when I get that data, right? Because that's what I'm really interested in. But in the interim, I'm starting to worry that while a bunch of passionate people are complaining, some of them effectively, constructively, some of them not so much, but either way, making a lot of noise to the extent where they had to put out a video, the community managers acknowledging the people being upset. I'm starting to think that despite that, enough people are still spending, and perhaps even more, that they might not change past Royale at all. My guess right now, just based on this small data set, which is basically the entire history of the entire World Wide Web on Clash Royale, but again, it doesn't tell the story of the spending or the daily active users. But with this data set, I'm starting to think that what we're going to be getting is TBD on level 15. I don't know what they're going to do there. No insight. But in terms of the actual, this last update for losers, my prediction is they're going to get rid of Mega Draft on Path of Legends, and that will probably be announced in the next week or so. And then my next prediction is that they're going to, they won't revert or change any of the past Royale stuff. Nothing. Maybe add a magic item, not Book of Books, but maybe like maybe give the community a little bone to say that we did something. But I don't think that we'll see any drastic changes because I don't think enough people are really, again, it's just an intuition, but I don't think people are actually speaking with the masses aren't speaking in their habits, you know? I think they're venting, and that's fine, and that's everybody's right to do so. But I think that the overall numbers, I'm not seeing the decline that I had expected to see if we saw people leaving the game in mass droves. But again, we'll see the rest of the data and we'll make our conclusions there. And of course, in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you guys. You know, I don't care if you trash on me in the comments. Seriously, I've been doing this for 10 years and I've gotten it all. But please try to be respectful for anybody that you disagree with in the comments of my videos. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a long and very rambly road to get through this video. But again, I will end on the positive vibes that I started this video at, guys. Listen, with all of this being said, sometimes venting, sometimes what I touched on, you know, somewhat opinionated comments that I made in this video. Sometimes people are just going through other stuff in life, right? Sometimes this venting, this frustration, maybe I could be wrong, you know? It might not be because they haven't gone through stuff in life. Maybe it's because they are going through a lot of bigger stuff in life, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, and this is what they take it out on, you know? So I absolutely understand that, but I would say to you, if you're one of those people that's going through something like that, just know that, like, from an old man, you know, I've gone through a lot of shit in life, and I came out the other end. You know, I came out the other end because if you look back at yourself, and I always say this, but it's so true, man. If you look back at who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, oftentimes we change everything about ourselves, and that can mean the negative as well. And it comes 99% of the time through small changes to your habits and your daily routine, not big cold turkey changes. If you want to do something, make small little habits to point yourself in the right direction, guys, and things will get better, especially if you're going through something, right now. If you're sad, if you're mad, if you're depressed, if you're lonely, if you're whatever it is, make small changes and try to turn them into habits, and I guarantee things will get better for you. Much love, guys, and as always, take care, guys.